Take me to that studio session though. What was that like? Did y'all record together? Was it a vibe? What was the studio session
Yeah,
like?
it was cool. We the studio, because I know there was a lot of rumors out there about the whole how it originally happened with Lyrica, but yeah, it was just something that I did for fun. Natalie had created a song, and she asked me to be on the song, and she was exploring different features, and so I ultimately ended up co-writing with a guy named excuse me 2 a.m. my verse only, and so it was very nerve wracking at first, but I think when we actually focused on doing the verse and really uh, uh, publicizing it more in a formal way, I kind of was like, all right, I gotta do this. I gotta get in my zone, and you know, because this is real. And so it was a little scary, but it was fun. I had a great time, great team around me, great energy, and I think it was a great experience.
How
So
do you transition your personality in the studio versus from who you are? Is like that CEO? Because is it a character that you gotta? All right, I'm on that
Right, because
mic
when I
too.
yeah,
heard the song, I said, "Let me."
yeah, I had to turn into the lemon pepper. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Damn,
I
people
and I
read.
gotta find I gotta
Right.
find a rapper name. But yeah, no, I had to get in my talent mode.
For sure.
But Natalie's fun. She helped get me to that place. Again, I have a great team around me of folks who can help get me to focus. On that particular thing that I'm doing. But different worlds, being the boss and the CEO and being a rapper on a song, night and day difference. But honestly, I experiencing it made me realize, man, this is a real art. This is something that people actually have to be talented. I believe. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not talented. I think I'm a talented rapper to some degree, but to consistently do it and to consistently put out hits. So shout out to all the rappers out there, doing their thing, because it's not easy. It's not easy. It does take talent, does take time, does take focus, and yeah, it was an experience, and it is, like I said, it's very nerve wracking.
For sure.
Getting in the studio and trying to hear yourself and rap and trying to make it. It's crazy.
Right. So, with the content that Zeus puts out, it does get a lot of backlash. So, how do you deal with it when it comes to the hate, especially from your own community, with saying that, you might be putting out a certain type of energy into the space?
Yeah, I don't really look at it. I appreciate everyone's feedback. I try to listen to folks as much as possible. It is really important in our business to really listen to the folks that are subscribing, are consuming your content, and try to find that balance, because you can't please everybody. You know what I mean? There's a lot of folks who love our content, and some folks want to be a part of this stuff, whether that's behind the scenes, in front of the camera. Everybody has a different personality, different story to tell. And so we're not forcing people to do things. People are being themselves. And when you put people in a room, yes, and they're discussing things that could be controversial or that they don't like, everybody kind of reacts differently to things. And so sometimes it creates these altercations, whether that's verbal or physical. We try to make sure, and we do our absolute best to make sure it's a safe environment at all times. So even when things do pop off, we have security there to really manage the situations. But yeah, I mean, look, we're not the inventor of loud, provocative content. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's, prior to Zeus, there's been several networks who put out content. I just think that is loud, or that is somewhat salacious or conflict driven. But I wouldn't label us as that, but I would just say, yeah, you get a little bit more scrutinized because it's you, and it's unfortunate, because I do think people don't come for other networks that put out content that could be, like I said, just loud or provocative. But again, we're in this space, and we're just doing our best to put out content that people are wanting to consume, and I think we're doing a great job. And it's high quality, it's premium. We're putting it out quickly. You know, you don't have to wait a long time to watch it. We allow people to on our platform. You can comment. We allow folks to be actually engaged. So we're doing our best.
How do you protect your mental and your peace through it all? Because even with you being the CEO, the fans, we still find some way to get in your business.
You know, every day there's a lot of external forces that, you know, are coming at me constantly, and you know, it is difficult, but you know, I think surrounding yourself with the right people, like, you know, my family works with me, like my sister is very close to me. You know, we work very closely together. Same with my brother, same with Jason Tober, and they're, you know, they're high level execs in the company. And then I have other family members that work, but also just having a good team around you, you know, that bring you good energy, that actually care about what they do, helps with that energy that you may be faced with. So, you know, you got to block out the noise, because the higher you go, it does get more challenging and more difficult. But, you know, at the same time, it's very rewarding and humbling. So I think a lot of it is who you are as a person as well. You know what I mean? I had a great upbringing. I'm still very much religious. I believe in certain religious principles when it comes to Christianity and my faith. You know, all those things I think help me when it comes to how I deal with my day-to-day